What's up, guys? Welcome back to Call Me Old Fashioned, where we talk everything bourbon, whiskey, and of course, old fashions. Today I want to bring up the conversation of, is Kentucky bourbon dying? Is it dead, right? Is it losing its luster that it once had? And to kind of answer that question, you got to think about how many distilleries right now are popping up and gaining a lot of popularity, right? For example, you have out of California, Redwood Empire. It's getting a lot of craze right now on the internet. You have Frey Ranch out of Nevada, which is getting a ton of publicity from different YouTubers and things like that. And then you kind of move into like the Texas whiskeys, right? Texas whiskeys are also popping up out of, nowhere, it seems like. They're all good. Where Kentucky used to be what everybody wanted for everything and said if it wasn't Kentucky bourbon, it's not even bourbon, is what most people would say. But when you have Still Austin, the Garrison Brothers, out of Florida, you have St. Augustine Distillery and all their variations, whether if it's their toasted, their port finish, their Florida straight bourbon, all of these bourbons in a sense are good. And I think one of the conversations that I like to have is most people say if it's not Kentucky bourbon, it's not bourbon. But I think that, statement is slowly losing its backing, right? Kentucky bourbon's always going to have its place and it's always going to be at the mecca of everything. But I do think that these smaller distilleries are kind of paving a way to where you don't have to just have Kentucky bourbon for it to be a really good bourbon. The way technology and everything's moving nowadays, I mean, you could really just start anywhere and make a good product. It just brings up the question, is having that statement on the bottle of Kentucky straight bourbon or just Kentucky bourbon in general on your bottle that important anymore? And for that, I'm going to say probably no. It's not as important as it used to be. If this was 10 years ago, yeah, of course. People were lining up the doors. People were flooding to Kentucky just to get the stuff from that area. But there's so many new distilleries and so many new products out now that I think you can get a good product almost anywhere. And most people are kind of losing that initiative to go and just get Kentucky whiskey or bourbon. And I think they're branching out and they're finding these different variations, because if you go to Redwood Empire, you're getting a totally different profile than you would, from Florida, or Texas bourbon is getting something totally different than something in Kentucky, right? And people want variations and want to try different profiles. So I think that's what's leading to, in a sense, a little decline in the importance of Kentucky bourbon. Now let me rephrase everything I just said. Kentucky bourbon is still going to be the king. That's always what it's going to be. That's where you have the best of the best coming out. But I do think there is a competition now. It's not just a even playing field where Kentucky is just dominating every second of every day. You have these other ones that are coming out of the woodworks, and they're pushing in. So should Kentucky bourbon be worried about being that important anymore? So let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Do you think it's dying? Do you think I'm completely crazy? Or do you think there is a place for all these other distilleries somewhere close to the top? So again, if you want to talk more about this, I do go live every Friday at 8:45 p.m. Eastern time. We're making some other days as well, or we may go live on Mondays or Wednesdays. We haven't figured that out yet. So make sure you subscribe, turn the bell on, like it, so that way we can help the algorithm a little bit, push this out. And then, of course, I will see you boys on the other side. Peace.